what is the part of you that needs to hold on and fight yourself?
Yeah.
And what's the fight for?
Yeah, because the most important words are not hold on. The most important words are let go. And, it's like, what are you fighting for? It's not important to be right. It's very important to be kind. It's not important to be right, but it's important to do the right thing. And often that's let go, because life's too short to need to be right. And of course, when you're right, someone else is wrong. And I've worked with many suicidal teens. They all say the same thing. My parents make me wrong. When you're being right, you're making someone else wrong, and that might ruin their world. Because if you're right, someone else is wrong. And how does that feel, making someone else wrong? It doesn't feel great.
No. And it's also about understanding that you cannot, if you create these two juxtapositions or these dualities, you're not able to create an understanding of communication and synthesis. And synthesis is what we require more of on the planet, because we are not able to truly develop ourselves. So it's the words that we're actually feeding our soul is actually what's giving our soul the power to become. So if we constantly give ourselves the incorrect data. Like a woman once said to me, Shaman Durek, I don't understand why I keep attracting these relationships. I'm like, what words are you feeding your soul?
Yeah.
Like, what words do you tell yourself? What's the data that you're giving yourself? Because whatever data streams you're accepting, that is actually writing your story. We say in shamanism, everything is a story. So what kind of story are you telling yourself? And that comes from the data you're taking.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not even your story. So the story is, I should have been a girl. I should have been a boy. I should have been academic. I should have been musical. But that's your parents' story. My story was always I was the wrong baby. But then I realized that was my mother's story. It wasn't my story. You can choose your story. My book says that whole thing. Edit your story. Rewrite your life. Because your story is somewhat, my dad wanted me to run his accountant. My dad wanted to be a lawyer. My mum wanted to be a doctor, but that's her story. It's not your story. And as humans, we have such a gift. We can rewrite our story at any time and have a brand new story. And we can change the beginning of the story. Then we get to change the middle. Then we get to change the whole ending. And I find people do this very weird thing. They keep trying to change the ending. My dad was a cold, distant dad. I know. I find a cold, distant partner and I'll turn him into a warm, loving pussycat. It's going to take years.
Yeah.
Don't change the ending. Find a warm, loving person at the beginning. I met somebody, one of my clients, who said, my mum said, darling, I'm very intelligent. I've never had children. I just find you so boring. I'm too intelligent, you see, to deal with you. And all his life he remembered that. Who wouldn't? Guess what type of women he liked? Super smart women that made him feel stupid. And I said, oh no, you're trying to change the ending. Find someone just like your mother and make her think you're the smartest person in the world. When really, you need to find someone who thinks you're smart. And by the way, if your mother was so smart, I think she might have known about birth control because she had 2 kids that bored her. And if she was that intelligent, maybe she would have stopped at one and just got a goldfish or a dog instead. And when people understand, oh, I'm repeating the story and trying to change anyone, I have the opportunity of changing the beginning. So we can all do that. And I love the fact that you're showing people how to realize everything is about a story, but you're also a story, but you have the honor and the privilege of changing your story, thinking, oh, I don't really like this script. I think I'll throw it away and start a new one. My script is, I don't matter, no one loves me. But you can say, I have a new script. I'm lovable, and I've got something to offer the world, and of course people love me because I'm lovable. What advice would you give our audience on how can they master their mind? And what did you do to master yours?
So one of the things that I did to master my mind was to stop fighting it and stop judging it. So what I do with the mind is I just let it go. If I hear something and if it says, you're an idiot, I'll say, I heard you're an idiot. I heard you're really beautiful. I heard this, I heard that. And what it does is it takes me deeper into a relationship with my mind when something comes up, I can engage it I can remove it, I can shift it, I can change it, and I can create something completely different.
And you're so right, because people have this belief, oh, my mind is my enemy. I've got such a strong mind, such a weak mind, such an annoying mind.
So glad you said that.
And in fact, your mind is your greatest friend. Your mind is a loyal ally. Your mind is really like the most efficient assistant you've ever had. And it's always doing what it thinks you want to do. People say, I can't find love. I can promise you, your mind thinks you don't want that, because once upon a time you said something like, it would kill me if I got dumped. If another person ghosted me, it would be worse than death. And now you've told your mind, I don't want love. If I got fired again, it would be the end of me. It's because you're not dialoguing effectively with your mind. When you tell your mind what you want, it's like a biofeedback. What you present to your mind, it presents right back. I'm scared of doing that. Let me fill you up with fear, and then you won't go. If you say, I'm so scared of this meeting today, I'm terrified, you increase the terror until you can't turn up at the meeting. Job done. You didn't go. So what you present to your mind, it will turn around and present right back to you. And you present your mind with better things, like, not what have I forgotten, what have I remembered? I'm terrible at this, what am I good at? I'm going to be late. Actually, 5 minutes doesn't matter. Everybody will understand. So we really do have a choice of presenting better stuff to our mind, like that garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
If you present better stuff, you get better stuff back. When you were a little kid, what were you telling yourself that you now see was a lie, but you didn't know that at the time?
So when I was a kid, I believed everything was love. And then my stepmom would tell me that the world was going to be mad at me or beat me up or be mean to me because of the color of my skin.
Wow, what a hard thing to hear.
She would tell me that because I have speech impediment stuff and my brain doesn't think the same way other kids are, I'm never going to be able to survive and make money and live a good life, and people are always going to make fun of me and laugh at me every chance they get.
And did you believe her? You were just a little kid.
I did believe her.
Until
when?
I
did believe her until I got into my teenage years. And then I realized that I was actually playing out the truth that she projected onto me.
Of course.
People thought I was weird and they would just constantly bully me. And then I just realized one day that the bullying that I was experiencing at school was actually happening at home with my stepmom. And that she was my greatest teacher. So every time she would say something, I started laughing.
Oh, good.
Or I would say, oh, and is that what you think? Oh, well, that's a fascinating thought.
And that's a great thing. Is that what you think? Because you're giving it back then. Oh, as in, when someone says something really mean, you go, thank you for sharing. Oh,
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Thank you for sharing.
That's interesting, because you're not letting it in. And one of the most powerful things we can do is to not let in constructive criticism. But your stepmother, some people do that out of love. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, no, don't get above your station. Don't expect that. It will never work out. Oh, don't aim for that. Aim lower. And many people who do that to us truly think they're helping us. That's not going to work. That's going to go wrong. No one in our family's done that. And they actually believe it's in our best interest. And other people do it because they're mean. And we know that people who are happy praise and people who are unhappy criticize. And critical people always have the most criticism reserved for themselves. But your stepmother, was she doing this because she didn't want you to get disappointed, or did she have a different agenda?
Her agenda was to make me strong. Mm-hmm. So she believed that by doing these things,
by diminishing you, you'd get stronger.
By diminishing me, I would get stronger, because that's what happened to her in her childhood growing up in Hawaii. So if someone says something to me now that is not governed in love or empowerment or focusing on some energy that is actually making me feel good, I see it as a sickness, as an illness of the mouth.
Yeah, illness of the mouth. I like that.
And I see it as some kind of illness, a flu they must be going through.
And most parents, even the ones that do it, nobody wakes up and goes, where's Google? There must be a way I can ruin this child's life. Google, let me tap it in. How can I ruin this child's life? Even parents who do a terrible job often think that they're doing a good job. And if they could do better, they would do better. And my mother, I saw her as a grandmother, and she was so much better because she wasn't living with my dad, who she clearly couldn't stand. So She couldn't stand my dad. It made her very unhappy. She wasn't very benevolent as a grandmother. She was totally happy and she was loving and kind. I used to watch her thinking, wow, I could have had a mum like that. But she was unhappy. So I had great compassion for her because she couldn't leave when I was unhappy in my relationship. I could just go. I was an independent woman. So it's often very important to understand that most people don't come at you with a motivation to ruin your life. They come at you with their own stuff, and they truly think, if I keep putting you down, if I keep criticizing you, you'll improve. We know now that the only thing that makes you improve is praise. And more praise and someone believing in you. Many years ago, I'm sure your ancestors were treating people with illness, would look at the mind, look at the situation, look at the life. They would treat the whole person, the whole body. And then all of a sudden we began to treat just the body. Oh, you have depression. Oh, you have anxiety. Oh, you have insomnia. And we've moved so far away from, like Marvin Gaye said, what's going on?
Yeah.
Whenever I work with a client, I hear that song, what's going on?
I love Marvin Gaye.
What's going on? And then I hear that other song where this one, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. And if you ask people the right questions, you get the right answers. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing our audience that we can all pick a better life. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, my hun.